Want to know why you're getting benched from the bedroom or getting flagged for penalties that you don't feel you committed? Look, guys, you wouldn't step onto the court without a game plan. So why are you navigating her menstrual cycle without one? Let me break down the X's and the O's of what's really going on. First quarter, game time, days 1 through 5. So these are the days that she's going to be the most tired. And if you think about it, when you get to the end of something, right, her cycle in this case, you're tired. The best way to play this is bring snacks and just play it cool, Don't take things personal, just be chill. And guys are really great at this. Just don't really say much. Just be there like a quiet, strong presence that's there for support, but doesn't necessarily have to say anything. She may want space, which is cool because men understand that perfectly. So don't take it personal. Just understand that it's part of her cycle. The pro move here is to have everything ready that you know she needs, heating pad, possibly some sort of craving. Also understand that she may be sleeping more, painkillers for her head and her cramps. You are really making the pro move if you have all of that just ready without even thinking about it. Not only does it support her in that moment, but it shows her that you do things with anticipation and with love and that you are prepared. Now, her sex drive. This is where it can vary. Some women actually become more horny. Can you say horny on YouTube? Okay, I'll change it. Anyway, so this is where she maybe, depends on the woman. Some women are more into having sex and wanting more than others. Some others may not want to due to pain, due to how they feel, the way they look. You feel bloated and you don't feel like you look your best. So therefore you not really feel sexy to want to engage in sexy time. So, but that depends on each woman. So this is the reason why. Testosterone and estrogen are low, right? It's kind of like starting from zero. So as the period comes, then as it eases off and you're going to the next phase or the next quarter, that's when you start to see those hormones rise. And that's where a woman's libido might come back, or this may be why women who do tend to have a libido during their period, this might be the reason why. So second quarter, this is the warm-up. These days 6 through 14. So as a woman, I can tell you this is the best time. This is when you have all this creativity, all this energy. This is where as a woman, I'll tell you, it feels great. You have your energy back, you're not cloudy anymore. You can before, where you couldn't even stand yourself, you actually want to be out there being social. It's just really where you're thriving in terms of your hormones and energy levels. So you want to maximize. I know that I tend to put really hard things to the side when I'm not in this phase. And when I am in this phase, this is where I tackle really difficult situations, whether it be with work or difficult conversations. This is where I would say to you, if you want to have a conversation and have her at the most centered, receptive place, this is when you want to have those conversations during this phase. Now, we all know here's her sex drive. She feels so good. She feels energetic. A lot of women do have an increased sex drive at this point. So, hey, this is a good space for everyone. And this is why, because estrogen is going up during this phase. This is why women feel more inclined to want to be receptive to physical activity for themselves, out in the gym. Actually, that's when I get my really hard workouts in, is during this time, and be physically receptive more to you because they can get more aroused. They're even really more lubricated at that time during this phase. Then we get to the halftime, right? The halftime show. This is ovulation. This is where she's at peak performance, okay? This is where she might feel extra social and be really engaging. She feels really good and she's at her peak performance. This is where she might feel really sexy and want to engage in even more sexy time because that's what her body and her hormones are telling her. And it's just at a place that even men tend to be more receptive to women and drawn to women during this phase. And it's all hormonal. It's nothing that you really can see, but you can definitely sense. And this is a great time to engage because the body knows that this is the prime time that if you were to want to conceive, this is where you would do it. So therefore, she is completely open and happy to engage and feels great. And this is where women feel that sexual urge to engage in sexual activity. And that's because the body is in its optimal state, so it can conceive. And during this phase, studies even suggest that women might have more intense orgasms. It is a moment that she has this surge and certain hormones, which lead to heightened sexual desire and sexual pleasure. So here we get to the third and fourth quarters, which is going to make a lot of sense for you because that's when players start to get tired. And guess what? She's no different. She's been a powerhouse with all of this energy, really showing up to the game of life, really showing up as in her feminine energy and her sexual energy. And then suddenly in the third and fourth quarter, which is day 15 and day 28, hormone levels and energy levels start to change again. So she will notice change in her hormone levels as well as her energy levels. And I can tell you it's very noticeable for some women more so than others, but you definitely feel the difference. Think about this like PMS is post-menstrual soreness, right? You have post-game soreness because you've like really like gone in and given your all during the whole game. But in this part, you're going to get that emotional soreness, right? You're more sensitive. You are not really seeing things maybe through the complete objective lens that you might have in during the first quarter. This is where you might wonder as her partner, like, where is that girl that was around and that lady, woman 2 weeks ago? And this is where you really have to not take things personal. We notice it in ourselves sometimes and at other times that we don't. So if you can get ahead of that and see the difference, just you don't have to say anything, just make a note and notice like the days that are leading up to her period, let's say day 21 to 28, you might notice more mood issues to the point, like I said, some women show it more than others. Remember that some women will experience like a loss in libido during this phase, not all, where they're just not as interested in sex. There are studies that prove that you actually see yourself, even though you look the same, you see yourself so much more like bloated, or you just start to feel like you don't look as good as you usually look. You personally, as a woman, don't feel like you look in the mirror and you're like, oh my God, I look this, I look that. And that might be the time that you hear her make those complaints about her body, about herself. She's going to get over it, but just in that moment, that's how she's feeling. And it's really real for her. So just be supportive. Don't offer any, advice. Just listen, grab her, give her a hug. And that's it. Like, that's the best thing to do. Just grab her, give her a hug, let her know that you're there if she needs anything. And don't try to understand if she says things that don't make sense. This is probably a place or time where you might not want to engage in really important conversations where you need to make important decisions or anything, not because like we can't make important decisions when we're in this phase, but for you might not want to engage then in something that you feel like you could engage in a time when she's going to be more receptive. Remember that there are other stresses in her life, whether it's work, kids, whatever it may be, that's going to be added on to this time when she's not feeling at her best, when she has less energy, when she's not loving herself as much in the sense of the way she looks and feels. So it's not so much like you can't have a conversation or you can't talk about things, but just like, why not leave it to a time when you're going to get a better result? So here are the MVP tips. Remember that every woman's game is different. So you might have had sisters, you might have had an ex-wife, ex-girlfriends, whatever. Yes, these phases are the same for the most part, but they manifest and they show up differently for each woman. So you will have to adjust, but just knowing and understanding and realizing that they're not about you and even tracking them with her and offering support and all of that is the best way to just ride the wave. This is really important too when she's in pain. It's not that she wants to complain. The cramping is different for every woman. The headaches are different. There are different symptoms. Some women get backaches. Some women get things like, and it can be really intense for some women. Some women get tired. Some women get really hungry. So like I was saying, don't make jokes about her during this time. I once had someone say to me, oh, you have a pimple. It's like, yeah, I know. I look at my face all the time. So don't point at the obvious because it kind of falls into make fun of. Like, I didn't take it that seriously, but it did get under my skin, I have to admit. Try to refrain from jokes until after. Try to just offer love and comfort and support. And that can be done without saying a word. Hugs go a long way in this moment. And just remember, when in doubt, ask how you can help. Remember, you could be here like the coach and just be understanding and just offer support. And remember, this is just basic biology, not a weakness. A lot of the beauty that comes from being a woman is that we have these cycles. So just bear with us, be supportive without judgment. Just remember to be respectful and don't pass any judgment. And just know that you are riding the wave together and you are in this game of life together. So hopefully these tips helped you out to know how to navigate that with your partner.